And remember, microphone's off so that way he can hear you groaning, clapping, screaming in pain, or laughing.
Well, don't you mean the other way? But I know that it really doesn't make much of a difference to me. Although I do remember being at some mics and people were a little. It would be a variety mic and people would be confused. And it's like, so you're a comedian? And it's like, yeah. And if you don't like what you're listening to, then come back in 5 minutes. It was not Camp Bar. It was another venue, but that was still weird that I would actually have to contend with people like that. Like, yeah, we're not all musicians here. Yeah. Even with Thanksgiving, things happen in my life, but as the saying goes, as long as I live life and pay attention, I have stories to tell and jokes to tell. And that is true even at my new job. Although tomorrow will be 6 months, so I don't know how much longer I can call it a new job. I'm just thankful I'm still there. I know in the past week, it's still weird some other things that show up where I work for a bank, but not at the bank branch, just in the same building. And sometimes our mail gets misdirected and ends up at the branch. And it was just last week that one of our long lost orders finally showed up, envelopes. And I know what spurred that. It was the previous week where a few of our orders showed up, like a fluid bottle for the envelope stuffer, and then one of the parts that was ordered for our machines. And it's like, well, I should know that by now. If supplies aren't showing up, ask the branch. I just couldn't believe it took me almost 6 months to figure that out, because I kept saying they're nowhere to be found. It says it's delivered, but what do I do? And there are times where a delivery man will show up at the branch first, and then somebody from the branch shows up and said, yeah, I'm bringing him your way. It's like, oh, okay. Thanks for the warning. I'll be ready for them. But I guess I'd much rather complain about the work I have than the work I don't have, because I spent a lot of time out of work in the past 3 years. Hated it. And it was nice to get a dental appointment in last week, my first in a while, because it's nice to have the health insurance again. I still get weird things in the mail, but I like how I'm getting a lot less junk mail because I cut back a lot on memberships when I was out of work for a while. But I understand that some things they send to everybody that's on their loyalty program. So that might explain some of the magazines or catalogs I'm getting. I should be demonstrative here. I've gotten 2 from Hy-Vee. Yeah. And it's like food and entertaining catalog, home and gift catalog. And then Walgreens, they're sending one with celebrity fragrances in it. Well, I know that office policies now say they don't like fragrances because some people are too sensitive to them. So I probably won't order anything in any of these 3 magazines. I guess people need to know that, but it's still nice to flip through them to know what's in them nonetheless. I've been mostly getting essentials lately. Food, there's nothing wrong with that.
Food's good.
Oh yeah, you need to eat to live. Oh yeah, my handwriting. Yeah, sometimes even I have to stare at it for a while, even when writing in caps. Oh, Thanksgiving was a little bit different for me this year. There was 1 year after I was done being in a relationship that I got invited to Thanksgiving dinner at a comedy friend's house, and I didn't realize that saying anything about cops to somebody married to a cop was going to be a bad idea. So I didn't get invited back after that 1 year. I didn't realize it at the time when I said it, and I didn't think what I said was wrong. All I said was I like being older now and leaving a small town, because I remember what a classmate in high school said after going to college in St. Louis was the cops in St. Louis leave you alone because they got bigger things to worry about than minor traffic violations. And I just plumb forgot that I was out at the house of somebody who's married to a cop, and he wanted to debate me that a little. And they never said why I was never invited back, but they didn't have to. I can understand being proud being a cop, but I mean, that's still a little too sensitive, where you don't want to hear anything that is negative about your profession. I mean, I didn't feel like it was entirely wrong to say that, because that is true. Cops do harass teenagers in small towns, period, end of story. They got, in some cases, they got nothing better to do, is what I would expect, because as the saying goes, nothing really happens in small towns. But I mean, you have to learn to adapt. It's like, all right, so I didn't get invited back. So for a number of years, I'd been going to Buca de Beppo, which I can walk to, and getting Thanksgiving dinner there. But this year, they didn't have the individual Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not going to get one that serves three. I mean, I've eaten way too many leftovers for a while. So I went to Cub Foods, and they had pretty good turkey dinners. And it was way cheaper, too. So I didn't mind changing things a little. And I even rated them on my blog, where I said, of course, I like the one that had cranberry sauce in it, even though it cost more. And there was more food in that Thanksgiving dinner, turkey dinner anyway. So sometimes it pays to pay a little more, even if it was just 30 cents more on one of it. I like comparing things. And I noticed that on my blog, people are more likely to read the articles about common consumable items, food, drink, music. So it makes sense. And I know even one of my comedy friends said he likes it when I write about movies. Well, that's another common consumable item too. It's in a lot of ways the great equalizer. Yeah, not just the Colt revolver can be a great equalizer. And I did the annual thing. Yeah, I'm a history major, and I went to an exhibit in Omaha when I was there for the College World Series, and that's where they talk about being the great equalizer. And I did my annual viewing of Thanksgiving shows, not just Charlie Brown, but also Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Still fun to watch that, even though I have seen both of them many times before. And it's still odd to look on YouTube whenever I'm finding any videos related to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And they showed the deleted scene when they're serving airline food. And I mean, I wasn't sure how to respond to it at first when the John Candy character said that he likes ordering the kids' meal at times. It's like hot dog, potato chips, Oreo cookies. That's a kid's meal? Well, I'm not a kid anymore, but I still like eating all of that. It's still weird how they can classify certain things. Yeah, even now, even if it's not Oreo cookies, sometimes I still like on the weekend having from the Holiday Station, they have Nathan's hot dogs wrapped in a pretzel. I mean, why not? It's simple, it's tasty, it's cheap. And I know another thing I've written about in my blog is due to the pandemic, I'm finding out who my real friends are based on who's been contacting me while the clubs are closed. And I don't mind at all. I kind of already knew. I mean, in terms of the ones reaching out to me, it's like, yeah, I'm doing fine. It's nice that you're checking in with me. And I mean, these were people that I'd actually done things away from the clubs with anyway. So that makes it a more substantial friendship. I mean, with most comedy friends, yeah, I'm fine with just keeping it at the clubs. Swap stories here, laughs there, and then we just go home, and I could care less what they do, especially if they do drugs because I don't. But I mean, I struggled to make friends when I was young, so it is kind of nice to know who my real friends are, even before it was confirmed for me. One of them just moved, and it's like, oh, I'm bummed about that, but what can you do? The other sent me my first ever Facebook voicemail. It's like, oh, okay. He said, checking in with you on Thanksgiving, love you. And it's like, all right. Yeah, I even said to him, it means a lot to me. He helped me find an outfit for a date with a doctor. And it's like, well, yeah, that's cool that he would want to take time out of his schedule to help with it. even though it was just a one and done date. But hey, lack of confidence, I guess I still can have a problem with that at times. And it's hard to date during a pandemic. So yeah, I haven't really tried in a while. Still doing the 2 movie weekend too. One of them, as usual, has been a Red Box rental. It was Broken Hearts Gallery. It's a date movie, but it was mostly from the woman's point of view, and as the saying goes, there's two sides to every story. So I think that's why I didn't fully enjoy the movie. Bernadette Peters was in it. At least I know who that is. I didn't know really any of the other actors. I think I would have liked it more if Selena Gomez was in it because she was listed as executive producer. It's like, all right, people know you as a singer and an actress. Why don't you put yourself in your own movie? But I guess she decided not to do that. Okay, that's her prerogative. And then the other movie I watched was a DVD I bought many years ago, The Newton Boys. That movie does have meaning to me because I saw it at the theater back in 1998, and I think it was one of the last movies I saw living in Iowa before I left for suburban Chicago to seek my fortune there. And I ended up living there for almost 6 years. And yeah, it is kind of funny, one of the lines in it, because it's about bank robbers. And they said, you got ripped off by a bunch of please and thank you country boys. And then when he's asked to look at mugshots and identify his fellow gang members, he names off baseball players and then gets punched. And it's like, yay, I'm a baseball fan. I knew right away they were baseball players. I know the other way that it has meaning to me is the weird memory I have. That was before I had an ATM card. So if I wanted cash money, I had to go into the bank branch to get it. And I know that bank employees are supposed to be friendly to the customers and everything. And they often casually ask, what are you doing this weekend? I actually admitted to them I was going to watch that one. It's like, and then I said right after that, oh, that might be a bad idea to mention inside of a bank. I'm going to see a bank robbery. But no cops were called. No crimes were committed. Just awkward, I guess. And hey, I've been awkward for a while. Somebody once wrote that on a comment card after I performed. It's like, yeah, he didn't mention my name, but I knew who he meant. It's like, I've lived with myself for a while. I know I'm awkward. Nobody has to tell me. Some people say they're trying to do the awkward thing I'm actually doing. I have to tell them it's not an act. And I'm the type that tries to learn something from everything. Like every time I go to a museum, I know I'm going to learn something, and I do, and I can usually identify what I learned. Well, I like Charlie Brown items, and over Thanksgiving, I ordered a couple more. And one of them, it's a case of, all right, I have the VHS copy, but I want DVD. And it's Pied Piper, their version of it that I ordered. And I liked what I learned when I was researching that, like how its full name is Pied Piper of Hamelin. And it's like, why they shorten it? I don't get it. And the other thing I learned was translating it from another language was one of the words they used in place of piper was flautist. And it's like, all right, pipe, flute. That's what I like about how I took French in high school is learning another language, even if you're not fluent, does help you understand the meanings of words a little better. So it's like, yay, I like how I learned something from that. It hasn't arrived yet, but I don't mind. It's not an urgent thing when I'm ordering from Amazon. I mean, I can afford to wait on those things. Food and clothing, if I do not order that online because I need that right away. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it when it arrives. Yeah, I think that'll do it. And thank you. You've all been great.
Yay! Thank you, Lyle Larue.